Cass, welcome to the Group X podcast, mate. It is so good to see you.
It's nice to see you too, Tony. Pleasure.
Mate, let's kick this off then, like I do with all of them. Tell us, how did you get into the fitness industry, mate? Where does it all start for you?
Where it all started being an uncoordinated kid when I was probably about 1 year old, as far as I can remember, or someone told me, like my mom. When I stepped into the bathtub, that little plastic bathtub in my grandma's trailer, and the water fell over me, and I got like a lot of burned. Yeah, so that is how it started, being able to move well. So after that, I joined the soccer in Brazil, which is the most common thing that Brazilian kids do, because I couldn't play soccer at all. I couldn't kick the ball, so I kicked the other kids' legs. That was an unfortunate thing that I couldn't kick. I was just like uncoordinated. Then my mom decided to put me in Kung Fu, martial arts. And that went...
Isn't that the way that we're meant to play soccer, though?
Sorry?
Sorry to interrupt you. Isn't that the way we're meant to play soccer, though? We're meant to tackle the other players, not kick the ball?
Well, probably in Australia.
Or is that just the Italian coming out of me?
In Brazil, it's a bit more skilled game, and you're not supposed to kick the other person's legs. So, yeah, I went really well to Kung Fu. Martial arts was my thing. So, to kick the other person, not kick the ball.
Yep.
And
much better.
Yeah.
Much better.
Later in school, I started playing futsal, but as a goalkeeper instead, because on the line I wouldn't go well. So as a goalkeeper, I progressed really well. And when I went to university, I even joined the university team, which was a really big deal because my university in Brazil had the Olympic athletes and all the sports were really high level in Brazil. So we played national and international level.
Great.
Yeah. I ended up jumping a little bit from young age to later during the university. We ended up getting 2 Latin American championships, which was a really big deal in Brazil. So I ended up getting good coordination. But in between that all, I did a lot of sports, and including swimming, taekwondo, capoeira, jiu-jitsu, you name all the martial arts. I was a scout as well. I joined the army, which was a good step into my career, because to join the army, the special forces, what I did in Brazil, you have to be at uni. So that's how I joined uni in fitness, health, and sciences in Brazil.
Right. You've done a lot. And what age is this that you actually got into? Is this like 18, 19?
Yeah, 18, straight after the high school.
Man, you've done a hell of a lot for such an active adult up until that age. Exactly. That is huge.
Yeah. My mom and my grandma, they were the best supporters. So they helped me to pay the university as well. So that was really good, because university in Brazil, if you get the private, it's quite expensive, and I wouldn't be able to afford it. So right in the beginning of the university, when I joined the army, I also did it as a trainee in a couple of clubs. So I worked in schools, clubs, and doing wellness, big range while it was in university. Not about the money, just to get experience. One of these clubs was YMCA in Brazil. They had the group fitness, and they put me to join a few classes, like body pump was one of them. The other ones were more freestyle, like dance, which I'm horrible up to this day. Step, freestyle step, which was super hard. They had 3 levels. They had the beginner, the intermediate, and advanced. And I got straight into the advanced. So I had to be following the person that was teaching, Rafa, which is one of my best friends up to this day. And that's how I learned group fitness, being as a trainee, just helping people getting good technique during the body pump class. So I had 2 instructors for every single class, which was really cool for the members. The payment wasn't good at that stage because I was just getting the help from them. So it was pretty much like a sponge, as my GFM used to call me. Just absorbing. Then I decided to train pump. That was my first program. And casually this weekend, came up my instructor profile, which tells in detail how I fail in that program and how I succeed and to become a presenter. So it's a good story that we don't need to go into detail. But anyway, I failed in pump. I did again. I passed, and then I became an instructor, and then I started getting classes around that. Then after I did my RPM training, which was really, really cool, really good experience, because I've been on the bike since I know myself, since being on a basket in my mom's bike.
Yeah.
So she used to carry me there.
Yep.
After jumping from the back and plenty of scars from the bike, like by myself, practicing with my friends. Yeah, it was good fun being on the bike. So I thought in putting that into a work career as well. So did RPM.
Yeah.
And I was going really well with my RPM classes and got invited to present in a workshop.
Yep.
And I wasn't feeling ready. So I said, oh, thanks for the opportunity, but it's not going to be at this stage. So I let it pass that opportunity. And just a few months before moving to Australia, I was working as a staff in the Les Mills workshops, Les Mills Brazil. And they invited me to present as well for pump. And I was feeling really good. And so I decided, okay, now is the time to take the opportunity. So I did it, and it was a really cool experience. I don't watch that video anymore because the video was horrible. I was teaching bicep track and my tempo was like not sharp at all. So it's a good learning experience. But yeah, that's pretty much how I started my journey in group fitness in Brazil. And then things progressed as soon as I came to Australia.
Yeah. Now I want to take you back. I want to touch on the body pump training just for a little bit in a different country, because I'm going to assume and go out on a massive assumption when I say that training in Brazil would be quite different to the training we do here in Australia.
Yes.
Not only that, but also going back to when you did it many moons ago would have been quite different as well. Can you talk us through what the training was like in Brazil for body pump?
Very different. To start in Brazil in group fitness, you have to be at uni. If you're not at uni, I think in the third or fourth semester, you're not able to join body pumps. You have to have at least the basic skills. So Australia is way behind than Brazil.
Yeah.
Brazil is much higher quality due to have the learning experience prior doing the training. So that is the biggest difference. Training wise is pretty much the same. We used to have 2 days for 2 weekends actually for initial module training. Not sure how it is at the moment, but it was quite intense, but similar to Australia.
Yeah. Not so 2 days where you're learning everything and then coming back on the next weekend to do your presentation?
Yeah. But you're not certification. So you certified after through video, which at that time was VHS.
Yes. What?
Yeah, it's not long ago.
We're showing our age when we say that.
2007 was the year.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. So a fair way to go. What release was it that you trained on?
64.
Okay.
Yeah. Was that time where they used to teach you with the swimsuit kind of thing?
Yeah.
One piece.
Yeah. Not a lot of clothing. Yes.
No.
I remember those releases.
Yeah.
I think a lot of the males in the industry do remember those releases, and
very good to know that things were different. Because in Brazil, even though we like to dress like that in carnival, in the group fitness classes, we used to have that little shorts, even male. They used to call me shortinho, which is the diminutive for shorts, little shorts. It's a lot of quad exposure.
Yes. Excellent. This is the Group X podcast. So how was that first moment when you got up on stage, when they asked you to present? What was going through your mind when you got up there? You know, you said that pump wasn't you weren't that strong at pump, but you were confident.
Yeah.
How did you go? How was that moment for you when you stepped up on stage, even though you said your timing was a bit out? Can you talk us through that experience?
Yeah. I practice a lot. So first thing, I jumped to the gym by myself, and I asked my friends to come and teach only to them, not even in my class, because I had a class at that moment, but I asked people to join me just for that track. So I did that track 6, which was Cowboy Casanova. I did that track a lot, a lot. You can remember the choreography if you ask me now. Yeah.
Yeah, excellent.
Practice, practice, practice is what we teach in the initial module training. So it's exactly what I did. Yeah, tons of times. And still, when I jumped on the stage, I was with Paulo Magu, which been to RPM 41, and he was my trainer
Yes. Yep.
for RPM.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. So a
Yep.
lot of pressure
Yep.
being on stage with him. The other trainer was Pedro, which was a high level. He was the head coach for Pump in Brazil. And the other one was Chris Tourinho, which he presented in Body Pump 65. So it was like everyone super fresh and sharp there. And that stage was massive.
Yeah.
Walking amongst dinosaurs, like giants. And
Yeah.
a lot of pressure. I remember
Yep.
locked
Yep.
my lower back when I went to present, locked in a way that I don't know how I braced my core, but I got so nervous and my lower back just locked. But the feeling of
Oh.
being in front of 100 people was amazing, because in Brazil is a state workshop. So it's like Filex every quarter.
Ah,
That's amazing. It's like
nice.
energy
Yeah.
high all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the best.
The way that it used to be back here 20 odd years ago was when we had the mega quarterly workshops all the time. And, you know, the ones in Sydney would pack out. They'd be at Sydney Uni or they'd be out at Homebush.
Yeah.
And, yeah, there'd be hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people over the 2 days. They were fantastic. Not saying that the workshop these days aren't as good. They're still decently getting there. But, yeah, when you get up and you're able to teach in front of a couple of hundred people, it makes so much difference.
Yeah.
And the energy in that room, not only as a presenter and a trainer, but for the instructor as well. Yeah, it's infectious. It's like what happened at down in Melbourne at Les Mills Live. You know, that energy in that room for all of those programs was fantastic.
It's definitely
Brilliant. So, were you on stage for the entire class, or did they have you just up on the tracks that you were actually presenting or being part of?
Yeah, for the entire class. I presented only the best track, but I was there shadowing for the whole class.
Brilliant.
Yeah, and my mom and grandma were there watching, which was
excellent.
Was really, really cool, because they were the best supporters. My grandma passed away not long ago, about 3 years ago.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry to hear that.
Yeah, but it's part of life. I deal with losing people that you had planned with them, and you value, grateful for what they did, and it's part.
Yeah.
One day you and I will go, and that's part. You went for a few seconds.
Yeah.
So
yeah, just recently. I went for 30 seconds, but mate, I'm back. They can't keep me down. I'm hanging around. No, but mate, big shout out to your grandma and your mother there for supporting you, mate, right from the word go as well, and being there for the first time you're able to do it. That's nice to be able to share that with loved ones and with family that you know you'll always treasure and remember. Definitely as well.
Yeah, it's a moment I will keep here, because from YouTube I took it down the video after realizing my technique was bad. Because when I posted the video back in 2010, I didn't know my technique was that bad, my tempo. And I still got like over 50,000 views in 2010, which was like really high at that.
Beautiful.
Stage. Yeah. So
yeah.
Now I only post the good stuff. The new
mate,
stuff.
It's awesome. Look, I think. Mate, post the bad stuff too, because it makes some instructors feel good, because they look and go, hey, we all started somewhere. Yeah, true. We've all got a journey where we've come through somewhere, and I think that even though you look at it and go, oh no, I shouldn't put that up there, throw it up there, because man, there's some people that need the I suppose the reaffirmation that, you know what, it's okay.
Yeah, it is okay. Yeah, we all get it at some level.
Yes. Yeah. No, cool, man. So tell me, what brought you here to Australia?
First of all, was to learn English.
Okay.
Yeah, so I came with a visa for 6 months to know if see if I was going to enjoy the country, because I traveled previously to US, and that was a really good experience. But I couldn't speak English at all. It was like basics of basics. So I did lessons in Brazil, group lessons and private classes as well, which very expensive there. And when I moved here, I still couldn't understand with the Australian accent. Couldn't understand anyone because there you practice with a Brazilian teacher.
Yes.
And then when
Yes.
you change the accent, change everything. I couldn't get a word.
Yes. I love that. I love the fact that you came here without really understanding the language
Yeah.
that well, because that's putting yourself out of your comfort zone, which we all need to do more and more often.
Yeah.
But I think that's fantastic, man. And to see that you are doing what you're doing now and having English as your second language,
Yeah.
not as your first language. There's hurdles with that straight away, mate. So from me to you, hats off. You know, that's tremendous.
Yeah.
That's
So
really
that
well done.
was my transition. Took me 1 year doing all the
Yep.
hospitality, construction, cleaning for 1 year. So I had a gap in my fitness career because in Brazil I worked in fitness since the beginning of the uni. I did work at the McDonald's for 2 months just to save money for the holidays to go to the beach, but the entire time the rest was fitness. So when I moved here and had to do all these tasks and chores and new stuff that I used to be spoiled by my mom in Brazil, was like a big challenge. Yeah. And it took me 1 year.
So when you first got to Australia, sorry, I missed that.
Took me 1 year to get my first class from the moment I arrived.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And I still think people couldn't understand
so
in that beginning.
When you first got here, where did you land in Australia? Was it Sydney or were you in another state?
Sydney. Yeah, I never left Sydney.
Sydney first.
Yeah.
Yep. And where was the first class you taught in Sydney?
At Macquarie University, which I worked not long until COVID, basically for 10 years.
Yep.
Yeah, I stayed there.
Wow. So it would have been Liesl then, yeah?
No, it was Dale and then Liesl.
Dale first. Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. Awesome. Well, shout out to Dale as well, because I know she's engaged with the Group X stuff. So big shout out to Dale as well for giving you your first class and giving you an opportunity and taking a chance.
It was my friend Jeff,
as we say,
Brazilian guy that introduced me. And since that moment, I enjoyed the club and great energy. The universities are always high level of energy. I worked in many of them. Pretty much in all the universities in Sydney that have group fitness. Like UNSW, I became GFM there. And Sydney Uni, I worked for many years with Vincent.
Yes.
UTS.
Macquarie Uni is an institute. You know, Macquarie Uni has had some amazing people teach there, manage there. It's a club in Sydney. If you're ever in Sydney, people, you can actually get out there, go for a casual visit, suss it out. You know, go and do some of the classes. There are some great instructors still around there today. So
you used to do.
Oh, mate, that's fantastic. That's really nice to hear.
You used to do the support as business partnership manager for Les Mills, so you know them.
Yes, back in the day.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Nice. A nice plug there too, man. Yeah, I like that. No, mate, that's from back then when I didn't get to meet Dale in the club, but I got to meet Liesl and spent a lot of time working with Liesl and then Julia
and
as well, who took over after Liesl.
Yeah, Liz is still a great friend that she took me to Virgin Active. Yeah. I helped to launch at Margaret Street. We opened the club. I helped to open that one. Yep. Yeah, I'm still working for Virgin at the moment.
Yeah.
Pitt Street and Norwest.
Ah, cool.
My 2 home clubs.
Yep. Nice. So, mate, let's talk about your induction into training and presenting here in Australia. Yeah. How did the opportunity come up for you to jump on the team to be trainer and presenter? And which was your first program?
Well, when I was working for a club here, they asked me to teach classes like CX Works at the time. Not even CX30, was CX Works. Now it's Core for the new people at Les Mills world. And then I did the training in Born to Move with Liesl, that she took it to Macquarie as well. I did the training in Body Combat, Body Attack. Never certified because both not for me. Was again that free spot that we receive when we host training. I did it because no one wants to do it, and I
For sure.
did to upskill. So I always been interested in upskilling.
Yeah.
And at some stage, I wasn't
Brilliant.
teaching RPM, so I was teaching only my cycle classes. And then I decided, well, my cycle classes got to a certain level. They were really good. I was getting full classes. And I thought, let's take to a new level. So let's do an AIM 1 for RPM, the distinguished AIM 1. And was Amanda taking that training. So I learned the release just to do AIM 1 for that day. And that went really well. And she got me like really inspired. For those of you who are listening and you know Amanda, she's great inspiration. She wasn't even the creative, the people and culture director yet. She was trainer and presenter, and she got me back into RPM. I got hooked. So I decided to do AIM 2 as well, which was probably the best module I ever done in my life. 25 people in Brisbane, and I was a student, so I didn't have much money, so I had to save money, rent a car, stay in a hostel. And the second night that the club was super far from anywhere, I don't know why Les Mills chose that location, I had to sleep in the car. So just to name a few. So Lee Smith, Karen Russell, Jaco, Dallas, and then Amanda, Dee, Rollo, and Jason Karthauser. They were with me as a trainee in that AIM 2. That was super cool.
Wow.
Yeah, lots of learning that weekend. Lots of learning inside the training and outside, sharing a beer with Lee, Jaco, and Amanda. And so it was really cool, and that got me even more inspired in pursue the RPM journey. So I got advanced, which was one of the outcomes that weekend, and wasn't my target. I really wanted to nail everything. So I put more hard work into that, and I decided to do the training again when Lee took in Sydney. So I did with Lee, and then I got Elite, and I was like, wow, that's really inspirational now. I got good feedback. I have things to work on. So I kept working around the feedback that I received. And then I did a workshop in the city. I'm not going to mention names because it's not a thing to expose. But I thought I can do better than that presenter. I know it's a bit bold and a bit arrogant, but I thought I can do better than this. And I put the hard work. And I only waited for the opportunity to come. So they opened for the tryouts. I did the tryouts for Les Mills. I sent the video. I got approved. I did the live audition, which was really nervous. Was like,
I can imagine
with that. Good thing I was amongst friends, and were Steve Clough and Amanda assessing that day. But they said, yeah, we're not assessing you right now. We're just taking notes to send to whoever is going to assess you to reduce the pressure on that day. And the outcome from that day, the live audition, I got invited to go to the boot camp. Was the boot camp for New South Wales. 22 instructors, the best in the state. So they did it in each state. They did the boot camp. And in that weekend, I was super inspired. I was engaged with everyone. I knew the release back to front, so we had to present a few times. And in one of the presentations was sweat, literally blood and tears, because I was presenting and I did a dive on the bike and I hit my forehead on the handlebar. That was the first time in my life that I hit my forehead on the handlebar. First, and I hope the last one. So I didn't black out. I kept teaching, but at the end I had a massive cut here in my forehead. So I literally gave blood that weekend. And I was one of the 40 instructors to leave that weekend as a presenter. So they invited me, they invited House and Rach Stamehouse. Yeah, so the 2 dancers and 1 RPMer.
Well done.
Yeah, that was really cool.
Yeah. Great
experience. After that, a lot of people came on board. Yeah, great group that weekend.
This is the Group X podcast.
Got a couple of questions I want to throw at you. Go back to going to Brisbane and the AIM game one that you did. You said you hired a car. Did you hire a car from Sydney and drive up to Brisbane? Or did you fly up and then hire a car in Brisbane to get around to what you needed to do?
No, I flew to Brisbane. Yeah, not that
You flew
crazy
to Brisbane and
driving
hired a
from
car.
Sydney.
Right.
No, no.
Okay, no, I was going to say,
Yeah.
dude, that's a long drive. But dude, to do that and then to then get on a bike and be right, whew, that's why I was like, hang on a second, I just need to clarify what was going on there. But still, and sleeping in the car, man, you sound like Ian Hennessy. Yep, and his trek around Australia when he's sleeping in the back of his ute. So, mate, yeah,
When we want,
you got to do it tough
there
sometimes
is
to
no
get what
option.
you need.
If we want, if we have a clear targets, doesn't matter what comes in front, we break the wall.
Yep.
That's
Yeah.
a good motto too.
Yeah.
But-
Mate, you can always go and have a shower in the gym anyway. It doesn't matter where you sleep. It's all good.
Yeah. Oh, fine. As long as you have a toothbrush, you're fine.
Yeah. Exactly. Put the clothes on from yesterday. Give me a rinse. You'll be sweet.
Oh.
Deodorant's in a can. We're good.
Yeah, that's fine.
So, and the falling with the bike in Sydney, was that a broken bike, or was that just you had an accident and just slipped on the bike, or did the bike, something happen to the bike and the bike broke?
The one at the boot camp?
Yeah, when you headbutted the.
No, I did a dive because I do dive with my head forward when I do for racing, from riding to racing, and I was too low.
You just went,
Yeah.
oh man.
I don't know, it was like a rock and roll style.
Yeah, I bet you haven't done that again since.
No, never. Keep like this. I have lots of scars from a push bike.
Yeah,
Like, lots.
Yeah.
But that one in a indoor bike was the first and hopefully the last time.
Yeah. No, fantastic. So you got on the team.
Yeah.
Give us the next step. What happened then? Where was your first quarterly workshop that you presented at?
My first quarterly was with Karen Russell, shadowing, because I stepped up. Someone couldn't go, and then I was just shadowing RPM. But I was presenting in Rooty Hill, where coincidentally was last weekend, and was with Dallas. And Dallas was coming fresh from filming. So you imagine the amount of pressure being beside me after filming. Yeah. So that was really cool. It was Sprint 12. Yeah, it's one of my favorite releases up to this day. Yeah, it's so good. Good memories.
So the boot camp gave you from the boot camp, you got into being a presenter for both RPM and Sprint?
Exactly, yeah.
Wow. Okay, wow.
Yeah.
Cool.
Got two.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
That's
because when we did the sprint training, I didn't even want to train because I thought I already have RPM, I have cycle class, so why gonna do sprint? My cycle class is already high intensity. But then I did a class with Dallas and Amanda, and Miriam, my wife, was doing with me, and they three were talking. You're gonna be great, blah blah. And then I said, "You tell this to everyone. Don't tell me I'm gonna be great." Something that I don't want to do. And then Miriam got me the training as a gift, so I couldn't say no. But was the best experience with Amanda again. And then I did the training. I went really well in training. She said, "Oh, you're already in the essence. You should watch out for the tryouts that are gonna come in a few months." And that's how it happened. Was like a snowball domino effect.
Mate, so what I'll say as well right now, thanks to Miriam.
Yeah.
For buying you the course and giving you that course to get in and do it.
Yeah.
Mate, I think that's she obviously saw something in you that you might not have seen at that stage. So Ms., thanks very much.
Yes. Miriam and I, we actually met in 2012. So it was a long time ago. We met at Philex. She was at the booth of Les Mills. And then we dated a bit, didn't work out well. And then we met again in 2016. And we reconnected and we reconnected like full on. And we've been together since. Yeah. Got married.
It's meant to be.
Yeah, it's meant to be, exactly.
Yep.
Yeah. She has great credibility in my Les Mills journey. Yeah, she's done a lot for me.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good. Tells me, don't say that because you're going to be fired. So. And then I said, I'd say whatever I want. But
I think we all need to have that person in our lives that is the soundboard, or the one that is what I call the mute button. You know, one that can just yeah, every now and then to reel us back in, mate.
And
Yeah,
then
I
sometimes I
appreciate
do
that.
say the thing I'm planning to say, and then she say, "How can you get away with?" And I say, "Oh, be honest. I prefer be honest than hide something. So
Yes,
I prefer to be transparent.
true. This is true.
Yeah.
Yeah,
If I
yeah.
don't like
So
something,
true.
I'll tell
So
you,
true.
Tony, I don't like that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. And it's the way it should be, mate. There's no. I think this day and age in life, there's too much bullshit going on.
Exactly.
So be honest and be straight to the point. Some
Mhm.
people might not like it, and if they don't, that's okay. We don't need to be friends with everybody,
Exactly.
and it's okay if people don't like what we're saying or doing. That's completely fine.
You
They're
don't
just
have
not on
to
your
do it.
bus, not going your way.
Yeah.
They can get off.
Yeah.
So yeah, love that, love
I'm
it.
not here to please
So
anyone.
talk to me about yes, true. Talk to me about the first time you actually did a training, as in not you training, but you training other instructors.
Ah, all right. Well, this one was straight after boot camp when I became presenter. So I received a call from Jaco, which is the head program, head coach, master trainer of Australia.
Yep,
And he invited me, are you interested in
yep.
become a trainer because you did really well in boot camp? But he didn't know that in boot camp, when we had to present a part of the module, I memorized word for word of the 5 key elements. So I did really well. Everybody was like impressed. You
Okay.
made me tear, Kaz, and stuff like this. And they didn't know that I was acting because second language, being in front of people, is super scary was super scary for me. Even being doing this podcast
Yes.
now, back in the day, used to be like challenge. I would be freaking out. Today I was more relaxed because I have more experience with being in front of the camera
Yep.
and talking
Yep.
to a bunch of people and know how this can impact other people, sharing my
Yeah.
experience. But back in the day, I didn't know. I
Yep.
was like freaking out. As I said to Jaco, thanks so much, mate. I know it's rewarding. He tried to convince me, and I said, I'm not ready. I can't do. And if I don't feel ready. I know that ready is not in the right moment and right place. Is just brace the opportunity, like that one I had in
Yep.
Brazil to present RPM, and I let it go. So
Yep.
when other opportunities came, I decided to grab it with all my strength.
Yep.
So this one for the trainer pathway took me about 2 years until I did my first module. Because the book's quite thick. The trainer book is a lot of content. I always knew the content in my head, but I didn't know the methodology to deliver it. And now I think I'm a little bit
Yeah.
better
Yep.
at it with the feedback that I get from the trainees.
Mate, I right now have a lot of respect for you for exactly what you've just said there. And not saying that I didn't have respect for you before. I need to clarify that. But from what you've just said, in the opportunity that came up, the majority of people would jump.
Mm,
Yeah. But the fact that you realized and you knew in yourself that you weren't there, whether it be mentally, physically, emotionally,
mm.
whatever level that it was, the fact that you turned around and said that, I respect that because it shows your character. It shows who you are as a person.
Yeah.
And I think that, as I said, that mate, I seriously, I respect it because you're showing the true you. Yeah.
Yeah.
You knew that it wasn't right for you and that if you went ahead and did it, you wouldn't be delivering the content or the message wouldn't get across in the way that it should have.
Yeah.
So you waited until you're ready to actually go ahead and deliver that. Mate, thank you. Thank you for being you. Yeah. Thank you for
Yeah.
just doing that and being honest with yourself and honest with us and sharing that here.
Yeah.
Because that's, I think, a message that we need to get out to instructors and people out there that, guys, if you're not ready for something, you don't have to do it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. You don't have to wait for the perfect moment.
Yeah.
And having the right support is really important too. So I had support from Jaco, from Amanda, Sam, Johnny, who else? Dallas. A bunch of people supported me into this trainer pathway. So I joined them in the modules, just going together and sitting and watching. And eventually I started delivering like one part of the module, just layer 2 coaching, for example. Yeah, and that was scary enough for me. So I started increasing little by little. And being with them that are so experienced as a trainer and deliver the modules so naturally, was a big deal for me into my journey of stepping. I always wanted to do everything step by step, not skipping any step, including receipt and unchanged also in the advanced training, which I got as well. I got, I think, any outcome that you can think Les Mills ever had, I got.
Yeah, you've had them. Yeah,
I've been through it.
That's brilliant. You've experienced them all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Before presenting in a video, I did shadow.
Yep.
You name it, all of them. And I like that.
On that,
I like to have all the perspective from every single angle.
Yep. Now on that, fantastic segue as well with masterclass presenting. You've obviously been on a couple that we know of. So you let me get this right. You said you've presented on RPM 89,
correct,
but you've also shadowed for 86 and United, correct?
Correct.
Yep. So 86 was before United, yeah?
Yes.
If my memory's correct. How did that opportunity come up for you to actually be in the masterclass filming? And can you talk us through that? Can you give us a little bit of information around how and what the experience was for you?
Yeah. So as soon as we found out that the release was going to be filmed in Sydney, Australia, for the first time in the history, they opened for all the presenters to apply. So we had to send a track of us teaching, and that went to LMI. And then LMI decided, I have no idea what about the criteria, but I got chosen.
Yep.
And I was feeling like super blessed to be amongst all the other presenters, which some of them presented before, like Ian and Amanda, Dee. Well, was going to be with Glenn as well. So that was like big highlight. Just to be amongst them was like amazing opportunity. So I did the application, I got approved, and on the week of filming, you have to cancel all your commitments because you have to be available for the masterclass and rehearsals. So in one of the rehearsals, Glenn wasn't available because he was also with the pump team, and Kylie Gates was in the room with us at Fitness First, and we had to learn the release, even being just shadow, like Adam, Libby, Andy, and I. We still have to learn everything. And that day, as Glenn wasn't there, Kylie asked, who wants to present Glenn's track? And I put my hand up. I did it, and Adam as well, Adam Epskamp. And we both presented. And I didn't know up to 2021, that was 2019, that Kylie said to Amanda, who is this guy? On that day in 2019, I only found out when they chose me to present 89, but she was impressed the way I thought. So if I didn't learn that release, I was just there to have fun and enjoy, I would miss an opportunity for the future 2 years after.
Yes.
Yeah. So I grabbed that opportunity and it was amazing. It was unreal. I remember asking Glenn like minutes before the masterclass, what preparation do you have? Any thing traditional that you do before the filming? And then he said, we can do a haka if you want.
I love it. Yeah. I love that. So that was the one that was filmed at Fox Studios in Sydney, yeah?
Correct.
Yeah. Nah, that was huge. That was amazing. Yeah, obviously Body Bike was part of that as well, in behind the scenes, but it was that the energy for the whole Friday night, whole Saturday was just phenomenal on we
had another Brazilian as well. We had Marcio there, came from Malaysia.
Yeah.
So 2 Brazilians in one release.
Yeah.
Never happened before.
Excellent. So then obviously United was the one that we had where everybody filmed remotely, because that was during COVID and during the crazy.
My backyard.
Oh, is that where you filmed it at home?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Now, on that, how much did you actually, were you talking, were you presenting in that way, or was it just actually you writing and they were mixing together? Because I've not seen the United release for RPM.
Yeah, so each presenter got asked to film in whatever the location they could go. But in my suburb in Australia, in Epping, we couldn't live at that time. So I had to film in my
Okay.
backyard. Some people were able to go to a forest or mountain or cool location, but
Yes.
I had to do my backyard. So I just moved the bike to the back here, and Glenn filmed
Yep.
the masterclass just like casually, just pretty much coaching the choreography, not much of
Yes.
highlight presentation, and we just
Yep.
watched and followed him. So we had to do
Awesome.
the movements. Yeah, it
Yep.
was
Yep.
really cool.
So that was for the entire release, or was it just a track that you had to do?
We had to send the entire release, yeah, and then they select
Wow.
a few pieces of us.
Yep.
They split the video in different parts, so they did a cool editing.
Yep.
Yeah, it was nice.
Yep. Brilliant. And then you got to present on 89.
Yeah, then came that opportunity. I received a call again. I was here, so this space here it's gonna be in my memory forever.
Yeah.
I received a call from Amanda. They
Yes.
said, Lala's Music International wants you to be part of the hologram release that is gonna be filmed in Sydney, because we couldn't travel at that time because it was during the
Yep.
COVID as well. So it was just
Yes.
Marlon and I from the whole Asia Pacific. So I was really honored to be part
Wow.
of that. Yeah,
Yeah.
a lot of practice.
So whereabouts was the filming? Where was the filming done at?
We did that at Channel 7 in Alexandria.
Okay.
Yeah, it was in a
Yep.
studio. Yeah,
Yep.
empty studio, by the way.
And how was that experience for you? Because there obviously is no, in that environment when you weren't able to travel, you wouldn't have had a class in front of you.
No. So I still had the opportunity to go to the gym to practice by myself. So I went
Yep.
there and practiced a couple of tracks. So they gave me 2 tracks to present, because they didn't know if Washington in UK would be able to present his one due to travel restrictions. So I
Yep.
filmed his track as well. So I filmed track 2 and 3. So I had to script 2 tracks, and scripts in that level with Sarah Ostergaard as my coach was a lot of pressure.
Yes.
Yeah, because I always look up to Sarah and Glenn, and
Yep.
we had a chain of in an email with the presenters and the coaches from LMI, and Kylie Gates was in the same chain email. So it was a lot of high level people involved.
Excellent.
It was really good. Really
Yeah.
good experience. Yeah. I freaked out on the day.
I haven't seen that release either.
You haven't seen? It's good. It's good outcome, because we had only 2 cameras.
No, wow.
So we had to present.
I need to get my hands on that and have a look, because that sounds interesting to how they put that together compared to normal class filming
Yeah.
as well. So I'll try and get my hands on that to have a bit of a look and
Yeah, very
and
different.
see.
So it's the hologram effect that Glenn interacts with us, because we filmed first
Yep.
and Glenn filmed after. So he had us
Yep.
to interact with whatever we see.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is the Group X podcast.
That's cool.
Yeah. It's really
That's
cool.
very cool.
Yeah, so I learned a lot in this release. I called a few
Yep.
people to help me. I called Lee Smith and Amanda.
Yep.
And Lee, as you know, you work with him, is a mind blower.
Yep.
And I have it written up to this
Is
day
it?
here, this piece of paper and more made me think about everything that is in my RPM journeys. Would you like me to share?
Sure, man. Sure, please.
Yeah. So I started thinking about what Lee said from a perspective of whoever is watching you, whoever is in your class, what they get from you. So first of all, we are instructors, but we also host. We sometimes are a singer, maybe not a very good singer, but we also the DJ, the VJ. We can be a dancer sometimes, depends on the moves. We are MC. We are the athlete. We can also be an entertainer, a coach, for sure. We are motivators. We are in the motivation business. We can be friend and we can be family of whoever is in front of us. And the things that I want to bring to RPM, Lee tapped into my mind, like, what can you bring that is new? Maybe one thing in one track, maybe one thing in both tracks, or something that you can perform or bringing a different energy or presence. So that learning experience in that week changed my entire RPM after that. So every class that I teach after this changed, because I was thinking about having a way above the initial model training, things that we don't learn in initial model training. So clear coach, meaningful words, let the music come first, voice contracts we do. Thinking about at least 4 counts of spacing between phrases, lyric interaction, facial fireworks, body language, smooth movements, because in front of the camera you can't do subtle movements because it's not going to capture. Eye contact, you got to be looking at only 2 cameras the whole time. If you look down, you lose connection completely. If you look to the other side, gone. Short phrases to create more impact. Emotion, that one is a big thing, because Lee taught me how you can project in front of a class not only your script, but the emotion you're feeling, so you can replicate that in the next class you do. And that made me think, whoa, that's a very different way of delivering a class, because I never thought in the emotion I'm feeling. Last weekend, I was teaching at Sydney Uni, which was a home club for several years, and Miriam was there watching with her family that came from Canada, and a lot of people that I respect were there. I was with Jaco, that I've been watching on body pump videos. So it was like friends, family, a place that I know, a place that has history. So it was like so many emotions coming from my heart. And if you watch that video, I'm still get goosebumps. It's a video that I'm going to keep that forever. Every time I need some inspiration, I will watch that video again, because I was surprised of how much I enhanced the experience in that room. And some people told me they cried in my presentation. Yeah, and that's like, okay, my job is done.
Yeah, exactly, man. That's when it lands, when it hits that point where you are being, and I this word gets used too often for me, but I'm going to use it now, authentic. When you are 100% there, being present in the moment and being you and sharing you, when it lands, and that is so powerful.
Yeah.
So powerful.
100%. Yeah, and I was there like everything. Body, mind, soul was in that moment. Yeah. I'm glad I recorded.
Yes. Have the moment to share for yourself, but share with others, man, because that's powerful. That's really powerful. It's to me, I think that's when you know you're in the right spot. Yeah. When it all comes together, it's all easy, it all lands, it all falls into place. It's not hard, but it makes an impact. It makes a massive impact when you're just being you and sharing with the others in the room the moment you're experiencing.
Yeah. And you give yourself
well done, man. Well done.
You give yourself permission to be vulnerable.
Whoa, yes. Yeah.
Yeah. That's one thing I'm always grateful for. The learning experience I got from Les Mills is be vulnerable. We're all humans. So we don't have to be pretending to be superhumans. We are humans, down to earth, both feet on the ground.
Yep. Yeah. Be who you are. Be real.
Yeah, exactly. 100%. Yeah. Doesn't matter what level you are. You can always be authentic and let your true self shine.
Yep. No, lovely. Hey, I've some different questions I want to throw at you now, if you don't mind.
Yeah.
Why do you teach?
Why? One of my big ways that we learned in advanced training is to help other people. I feel pleasure to help other people. Not connected to financial. It's just help.
Yep.
I have the opportunity to help if the other person is interested in being helped as well. If you're not interested, I don't give it an F.
Yep.
Yeah.
You can swear on this one.
I will spend my time with you. Not charging. If you're interested in learning from me. Yeah. It's a good thing, but it's also a bad thing, because then I don't increase my financial because I give you advice for free.
Yeah. Look, I think there's ways and ways around doing it. There's ways
Yeah,
that you can pass a message on to help someone, but there's also ways where you can actually be coaching someone, and if they want one-on-one specialized coaching, you as a trainer can still offer that to someone. Yeah,
true.
they get what they get out of module training, but if they're going to take it a step further, then you can go above and beyond. You know,
Yeah,
you can still make money from that. So
yeah,
don't. My advice to you is yeah, you're doing the right thing. Don't get me wrong,
yeah,
but if there's an opportunity for you to be able to make some money with that as well, make sure you tap into it, mate, because
true.
that's a skill set you own. That's your skill set there. So,
Yeah,
yeah,
100%.
mate, I appreciate that. I appreciate hearing that as your why and why you want to do it. I think there's a lot of trainers and presenters in our industry these days, which are, you know, I'd say most of us are in the same boat. Yeah, we want to be able to help
Mm,
people. Now, whether that's helping other instructors that then end up helping other members, or whether it's helping members,
yeah.
you know, the flow on effect as we go through the chat that I had with Matt Thraxton, the butterfly effect. You don't know how many
Mm,
people you're changing their lives every time
true.
you teach. Yeah.
Yeah,
Where every time you're coaching someone, you know,
yeah,
the on flow effect of that flow on effect where it goes right down the line until some days it probably doesn't stop. Yeah.
yeah,
I think
yeah. I tell you
that's
my
a genuine reason to get in there. What you do.
exactly. I tell you my initial model trainings. You can be the highlight of someone's day, and you don't even know. That class,
Yeah.
1 hour or less, can be the highlight. Can be the
Yeah.
what the person need to live.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, Philip
Yeah.
Mills said we are not into fitness to coach. We are into fitness to motivate. Is a
Yeah, man.
motivation.
We are in a motivation business. Big time. Big
Yeah,
time.
yeah. See
Totally
that?
agree with that. And I think that's I think when we understand that as even instructors, yeah, when we turn it around and we realize that it's not about us as instructors,
Yeah,
it's about the people that are in front of us. You know,
yeah,
even for you guys as trainers and presenters, and I think I've said this many times on this show as well, that it's only 4 times a year where you're actually a presenter.
yeah,
But every time you go into that club on a Monday night or whatever day you go and teach, yeah, those members are there for you. They need to have your energy. They need to have your all, and you need to bring your A game there better than 4 times a year.
yeah.
4 times a year, you still need to be on your game.
Mm,
But every week that you go into Clubland and you're teaching, you need to be on par to make sure that the message is landing, your coaching is on spot on, everything there is a-okay.
yeah, you lead it by the
Because
example.
if it's not, they're the ones that are gonna be affected.
Definitely, yeah. Leading by the example is the key.
This is the Group X podcast.
Is there anything in the industry that you think needs to change, and what is it?
Well, I believe that the industry is being changed since I started, and even before that, the massive transition. Not just talking about technology, but everything around. There's so many trends that came and don't exist anymore. But
Yeah.
the people are never going to be replaced. I believe that the technology on demand, whatever you have to do at home, it is good. It's going to work well, but not as a replacement. And I
Yeah.
believe that the face to face, you can't change that. I used to be
True.
more against the technology. Nah, I'm not going to do that. But now I train athletes through WhatsApp.
Yep.
It's just impossible to be with them due to the distance.
Yeah.
So it's the only way. Okay, let's do it. You have another way,
Yeah.
face to face. Let's do face to face. Yeah, the engagement,
But
the connection will never be replaced.
yeah. So true. I remember when Les Mills On Demand, or Les Mills Virtual, whatever it was, first came out.
Mhm.
I was still at Les Mills and traveling around, and I went to see a club. I won't say the name of the club, but I went to see a club, and I jumped out of the car, and I hadn't even made it into the front door of the club. The club manager, the owner, and 2 instructors were there and just launched at me and said, "What the bloody hell is all this Les Mills shit? You know, it's new, so you're just trying to get rid of us," rah, rah, rah," and just seriously attacked me in a big way. And I understood it because it was brand new and they were threatened by this new platform of something that was coming out. You know, they thought we were trying to replace instructors. I walked in and said, well, hang on a second. I'm going to turn around. I'm going to walk out of the gym. I'm going to go back to my car. I'm going to pretend that I haven't been here yet. I'm going to get back in the car. I'm going to open the door and I'm going to walk back in and we'll start this whole conversation again. And they're like, oh, and I was like, just stop for a second. Yeah. So I did that, got back in the car, got out, walked back in, sat down and said to them, and they were like, Tone, why did you do that? And I said, because the first thing you did was have a go. You were so negative that if I'd responded in any way differently, that whole conversation, that everything that we'd discussed from that meeting on would have been negative. So I walked in and we sat down and I said, okay, so tell me, go through that, tell me your problems, tell me your issues, all that kind of stuff. And because I'd nailed it in that way, we discussed it. Now, I totally understand when it first came out, there were a group of instructors and the majority, I said probably a good 80 to 90% of instructors were threatened and thought, hang on a second, what is Les Mills doing here? We've been doing this for 15, 20 years, whatever it may be. And now you're bringing this new product out. Is that to get rid of me? Is that what's going to happen moving forward? Straight away, it was, well, hang on a second, guys. No. The market that Les Mills were trying to attract back then were the home user market, the market at home that had never trained before. Let's get them used to doing and experiencing what the workouts are. Yeah. If they then get confident with it and comfortable, where's the next step they're going to go? They're going to come and get into a gym. Yep. So they're going to come along. They know it already. They know the program. They're a bit threatened or a bit intimidated about walking into a gym. So let's give them something to be able to do. Yeah. Now, once we got the message across to clubs and instructors, they understood it. It was at that stage as well that the filming of masterclasses had started to change. It wasn't the production for instructors anymore. Yeah, it was a production for a different market as well as the instructor. Yeah. And we're talking about evolution, how everything is changing and things that are changing and moving forward. That's probably been one of the biggest changes that I think we've seen in the industry is the change of the masterclass filming for us as instructors to a home user market, then even change even more when it became Les Mills On Demand or Les Mills Plus recently and through what happened over the last couple of years, that product was predominantly aimed for the home user.
Correct.
Is still there for the home user, but is also still there for us as instructors to learn from.
Yeah, I believe the best way would be create two products.
Yep.
So masterclass.
I agree with you on that, but I don't think it's possible.
Well, you're gonna spend way more. It's already a high production.
Yes.
So would increase the price.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's the thing that I think that a lot of instructors don't like change. Yeah, even though we're changing, we're evolving, we're going through the motions of an industry that is changing big time. I mean, look at what the industry is doing today compared to even what it was doing at the end of 2018, 2019.
Yeah,
we're so different. You know, the clubs that you notice the clubs that aren't around anymore are the clubs that didn't change. They didn't pivot. They didn't move. They didn't change with the times. They just expected to open back up again after the shutdown period and go, yeah, well, we're doing what we did before. Like it or not, tough, that's what we're doing.
Yeah.
They're not around.
Yeah, you got to be
the
open.
Clubs that adapted, the clubs that changed, the clubs that evolved.
Even through digital, when we had the physical kits for the release and we changed to digital, a lot of people were reluctant. No, I want the physical. I like to go in the book. It's the same as you still buy CD? No one buys CDs anymore.
Yeah.
Same deal.
But the fact that we had to actually, what you mean? I had to print out my choreography notes? You weren't giving me something anymore?
Yeah.
Why isn't the cost of the production gone down? I remember those conversations. They were fantastic.
Yeah.
But hang on a second. It cost you how much for a ream of paper for 500 sheets? It's cheaper than what we're able to even present or people to be able to produce it to you for. Yeah. It's cheaper for you to no, give it to me. It needs to be cheaper. Yeah. Man. Yeah. Look, I get it. You know, I understand the negativity and the frustration from instructors in relation to that. But I think now most, there's probably a very small percentage, most instructors have jumped on with the times and realized, you know what, hey, this is actually a hell of a lot better.
Definitely.
There's still those that will print it out. There's still those that print it out, I'm sure, that have it there because that's how they learn. That's their learning style. And that's completely fine.
Correct.
But I think there are things that have changed that as an industry, we need to grow. We really need to grow. There was a conversation I had this morning with someone from an organization that was chatting to me with regards to instructors and how we how instructors these days, there doesn't seem to be as many younger instructors coming through. Let's go back 20 years ago. Let's go back to 2003, 2004. There was a lot more instructors, a lot more younger instructors coming into the industry.
Correct.
That doesn't seem to be happening as much these days. The instructors we have are changing the programs they're teaching, or they're teaching less, but there doesn't seem to be as many young ones coming in. How do we do that? How do we get a younger demographic?
Well, personally, I recruit people from my class. I recruited a lot of people. And I learned that being a GFM. As a GFM, I had the need to recruit people. I got an audition at UNSW back in 2021. We got 50 people auditing for the club. It was my credibility calling them out.
Yep.
I even called Alania. Of course, he didn't do the audition because he's a master trainer. Alani Mala.
Yep.
Always being an amazing role model for me and inspired me since back in Brazil, watching that the big Maori guy on the stage. I learned from RPM 69. I always mention to him, and we laugh together. He says it's a very special release because it's 69. And I got amazing people. Julia, one of the presenters, was working there with me. I got instructors from all over Sydney. Caio, which just joined the presenter team, a Brazilian guy. And recruiting. Caio is one of the guys that I told him you should be presented, and he took the opportunity as soon as the spot opened. Boom. Brilliant. He presented last weekend for the first time. So I think it is our responsibility to call out young instructors.
Yeah. I agree. I think there's no other way that I can think that they're going to come in. I mean, we're a lot of the younger ones don't want to do what mum and dad have done.
Yeah.
Let's be realistic. Go back 20 years ago. Yeah. And okay, I was 27, but if I'd had a child at that age, my child would be 20 now. My child wouldn't be coming in to do RPM or pump or what I'm doing at the moment. There's no chance. They wouldn't be interested. They'd be out there on the gym floor doing something different, or going to a different gym doing something different. How do we get that younger demographic to come in? How do we continue to get the demographic that are currently there coming in? If the music's changing so much and the music is the new releases, current music that's on the top 40 or in the charts these days, does that gel with me? I'll be honest and say, no, it doesn't sit with me, because that's not my style of music. That doesn't sit with me. I go back to some of the stuff, as I was saying earlier, in the 60s or 70s and 80s in pump, even some of the early stuff in the 40s and 50s. I love it. Yeah, because that's the music that I really gel with, and that's the music that people around my age really enjoy. Yeah, it makes it harder because when does that change? When does that point happen where new instructors come through that are younger, but also that attracts newer, younger members as well? I think that's the big challenge. And that was the conversation I had this morning. And, how do we, as an industry, how do we do that? What can we need to do to try and fix that? And I don't think anyone has an answer. I think we've got probably a lot of ideas that we need to throw together. But I think we also need to throw that question out to everybody to say, hey, instructors everywhere, how do you guys think we can do this? As an industry, if we don't make that change now, are we going to be here in 5 years? Are we going to be here in 10 years?
I believe the first thing is knowing what you're doing and believing in your product. So if you know what you're doing and you believe in your product, you're not just saying because you have to say. It's different. Because we had a release from Sprint that was hard for the presenters, trainers, instructors, for anyone to learn, was Sprint 29. And a sprint was always simple. I used to learn a sprint in half an hour, the duration of the class. I would learn the entire release. And 29 took me hours to learn. So when you go to transitions, you might affect some people, and you can test that. But if you keep testing and keep it going to one way only, you got to listen to what's the feedback as well. So the feedback from everyone that's involved is really important. And talking about the members, talking about instructors, presenters, trainers, program directors, is not a one-person decision. It's group. It's group fitness, so it's a group decision, and you got to be open to receive constructive feedback.
It's group exercise, remember?
Exactly, group exercise.
Sorry, I was being cheeky then. You said group fitness. I was like, no, it's group exercise. Yeah.
Right.
Sorry. I'll leave that alone. Mate, the last question I want to throw at you here is, what bit of advice can you give an instructor who's looking to improve or do something different, man? What bit of advice can you give if they're wanting to do something and they're stuck?
Something different in their career, or
Just improving what they're doing. Or just improving what they're doing. What sort of advice would you give them?
improve what you're doing. If you want to be good at something, you got to be with someone that's already good.
Yep.
So if you are a singer, for example, you're not going to learn from someone from the pub. You're going to learn from someone that has been in a good career, and you're going to look up. The same way you want to get stronger, you look at what someone that knows their thing is doing, like a bodybuilder, for example, someone that is lifting heavy.
Yes. Yep.
So you got to learn, you got to reach out to people that know their ground. I believe that connections are really important. So upskilling, doing training, never stop learning. There's so many ways to learn these days. You have plenty of things online that you can learn. You got to be selective, because there's a lot of things that are not good. So you got to know what you're learning as well. But upskilling and reaching out for the more experienced ones, always important. That's what I did. I always looked up, and all these people that I mentioned here that inspired me, they keep inspiring me because they know their thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Brilliant. So on Facebook today, I threw out to the Group X Instructors Australia page and asked them for top questions that I should be asking people. So one of the questions that's come up here is top tips for filling classes. Now, I'm not sure whether they mean finding a cover for a class or actually filling your classes, as in, getting maximum capacity.
I'll go with max capacity.
So let's go with max capacity then, man. What are some of the top tips that you can actually throw at instructors around how they should be getting maximum capacity in classes?
Yeah, top tips to start with is do your homework. So start from your home, knowing your music, choreography, everything that you're going to do. Preparation starts at home. Scripting, getting a good selection of songs for the right time slot. So you got to be prepared before you go to the gym. As you get into the gym and you know everything, interaction, connection, before doing after class. Before your class starts, make sure your studio is in the right conditions. So you got to get there earlier. If you're 15 minutes earlier, you're on time. If you're on time, you're late. And if you're late, leave Group X, because it's not for you.
Go and work at Macca's. Yep.
So when I come to the gym, like I was this morning, I woke up at 4:30 a.m. to teach a 5:45 sprint. So I got there. I made sure that I had enough paper towel for them to clean the bikes. The stereo, I made sure was everything working. Batteries, microphone, I tested before they get into the room. It was a short time because the gym opens and 15 minutes after, boom, the class starts.
You're on. Yeah.
I got the iPad to do the check-in at Virgin. We have that opportunity to give a good connection. Boom, sorted. No rubbish on the floor, because sometimes there is things from one day before. Everything sorted. Boom, they get there, they have a good experience. So be there before, spend 5 minutes after the class as well, so you can reset the room for your next instructor, so you create a good bonding with the other instructors as well. The worst thing when you get into the room, classes back to back, and the instructor left the room all messed up, or the battery is not charged, or the microphone is bent, things like this. This will enhance your class participants' experience and the other instructors, because you're in a team. So you got to look after your team.
Yes.
The team of instructors. I believe doing these things, boom, tick, 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 tick.
Yep. No, I think that you touched on one thing there that was always a bugbear for me as an instructor. Going in to teach a class after somebody else, whether it is the first thing in the morning or straight after another class. Guys, let's make sure we look after each other. Let's make sure that we're leaving the equipment in the room in the best position or best condition possible.
Exactly.
So that everybody has a fantastic experience. Yeah. If we're not doing that, are we really a team member? You know, should we really be working there? If you're in it for the wrong reasons and you don't care about that kind of stuff, get out and go and do something else.
Exactly.
Yeah, but if you want to be a team member and you want to be part of the culture and make the group exercise experience amazing for everybody, then guys, as Cass is saying here, you know, the easiest way to do things is make sure that everything is okay. Make sure the experience for your next instructor as well as for the participants coming in is spot on.
Yeah.
That's going to help us.
Yeah.
Cass, thank you so much for coming on the show, mate. I've greatly appreciated getting to know you and you sharing your story with us, as I'm sure the listeners will as well, mate. So thank you so much.
My pleasure, Tony. I appreciate everybody that's listening and spend some time learning and sharing the experiences, which is always good. That's one of the reasons we chose group exercise, and I'm really grateful to be here today in my position as a presenter and trainer for Les Mills. Love everything that I've been doing, and yeah, that's really exciting. And I'm open for anything that comes next. Like I've just started
Brilliant.
body pump presenter. Yeah. Whatever comes next is great.
Mate, thank you. Appreciate it.